Okay, it's 10:04, so thank you all very much for joining us this morning. My name's Graham Laws. I'm the leader of the North East Corner Club, and this morning's presentation is really going to be an introduction. Now, I know some of you are Freemasons and are already members of the North East Corner Club, so welcome to you. But there are many of you on the call who have never heard of the North East Corner Club, so this presentation is really for you. And there'll be ample opportunity to think throughout. Please put your questions in, and we'll have a nice, relaxed Q&A at the end. Now, before I hand over to my colleague Dev, I'm just going to put up a quick poll, which we'd be delighted to get a response from you on. So if you've got your fingers ready, let's launch this poll. So we're interested to know your current status with regards to Freemasonry. Are you a Freemason? Are you waiting to be a Freemason? Are you interested possibly in the future, or are you just passing through? So that's fantastic.
Great stuff.
So, Dev, look at what we've got. We've got 27 people in our meeting who are waiting to be Freemasons, 15 who already are. Fantastic. You're all very welcome.
Great stuff. So good morning, guys, and welcome, of course. My name is Dev. Great to all virtually meet you all. So, wow, 27 of our group are waiting to become a Freemason. Guys, we know it's frustrating, but there's some positive news in the horizon with COVID, and hopefully it shouldn't be much longer. And early next year, we should be seeing a change to that. So welcome again. Let's go over to our etiquette slide then. Here it comes.
There in a second.
All righty. Bit of traffic on the road. Here it comes. So first of all, good morning again. Guys, happy Diwali for those of you who are celebrating it. Diwali is an Indian festival of light, like an Indian Christmas, if you will. I'm not celebrating it. I'm just celebrating the food bit, the festive board bit, just to make sure that I still fit in my suit when we get back together again. So without further ado, let's check the questions out. Here they are on the screen. So guys, it's very important that we get your opinion and your thoughts as well. So if you have a question, you can use the chat button below. And if you contact Ranj, you'll find him on the list. Ranj-NECC or myself to send your question. And that way we'll be reading every question. It's really important that we will be sharing these with the presenters. So we won't be missing any questions. But the idea is if you copy everybody, well, then you may disturb the flow of the presenter and you may miss something yourself while you're doing that. So make sure, please, you use the chat function to send your questions across. Everyone's going to be muted. Only the co-hosters will be unmuted. You can always put in a request to get yourself off mute when you have a question and when you're invited to discuss your points. We're going to be asking some more polls throughout the meeting, particularly at the end. And it'll be interesting to see what viewpoints that we can get in from the crowd then as well. Behavior is normal Masonic behavior this morning, guys. It's just respect for all. Let's treat people the way we want to be treated as well. All right. If the meeting does drop out due to bandwidth issues, just simply log back in. We're all going to be monitoring and admitting people into the forum. So without further ado, guys, let's get cracking. Have a good morning. There we go.
Yes, right. Good morning, everybody. My name is Steve Barker. I'm going to be giving a presentation about North East Corner Club today. So before I start, here comes a little video. Okay, so part of the introduction, if you've got any questions, ask them during the meeting, don't save them up to the end. And two questions we often get asked are, why are we a light blue club and why are we called North East Corner Club? So I'm going to answer those two before you even ask. So why light blue? Well, it's all to do, and you can see these gentlemen here in front of you. This is the last initiation carried out before lockdown 2 stopped us having meetings. So you will see that it's all to do with Masonic aprons. So there are 3 degrees of being a Mason. So when you come into Freemasonry, the first apron you have is just plain white. Then as you move to the 2nd degree, you get little light blue rosettes. It's starting a bit more fancy until you go on to getting a blue border with rosettes. You're still a light blue. And then once you're made master of a lodge, it changes again. This gentleman here with the dark blue is a senior Mason. He's been through the chair of a lodge. So we are looking at people who have not been through the chair, who are starting their Masonic career. That's why we call ourselves a light blue club. Why the northeast corner? Well, that's dead easy. Here we are. Here's a layout, a typical layout of a lodge. And you see the 4 cardinal points, northeast, south and west. The east is important because the worshipful master sits there of the lodge. And I think west is important because I'm a senior warden and that's where I sit. Would I be allowed to do so? But when you're first made a Mason, whoops. Oh dear, come back. I'm having finger trouble here. It's there in the northeast where you are made a Mason. So that's why we call ourselves the Northeast Corner Club. You're put in the northeast, it's where the cornerstone of buildings is put, and therefore you are built upon the cornerstone of your Masonic career. So here's the agenda, what we're going to go through today. As I say, we're introducing it. It's a club for light blue Masons. I'll explain what that's about. We're going to go through the history of Northeast Corner Club, its audience, what the club does, and how the club does what it does. Couldn't think of a better way of explaining that, but we'll leave that one going. So let's quickly go through the history. So the Bucks Province started the Northeast Corner Club in 2005. Ray Reid, and Ray is pictured here in this slide, and Robert Warden, that's the then Provincial Grand Master and Deputy Provincial Grand Master, decided there was a need for a social space for light blue Masons to meet. Little opportunity for them to meet in your own lodge because you've only got your own brethren in there. So they decided they would have a Saturday morning get-togethers. It all started quite slowly, about 20, less maybe, but people attending these sessions, and they meant the educational sessions, but over the years they've grown, and people responsible for Northeast Corner Club have moved on, and it's been taken over and kept running. United Grand Lodge of England started a mentoring scheme back in 2010. That's when it was commenced. They decided mentoring was to be undertaken at lodge level. So each lodge would have a mentor, and that mentor would be responsible for appointing mentors to individual Freemasons. And there's support at lodge level from the province. We have the Provincial Grand Mentor with us today, John King, and he supports the mentors throughout the province. And hopefully we can help with this. Northeast Corner Club can be seen to be a critical part of supporting new Masons and supporting the mentoring, getting the education across. Northeast Corner Club management. This isn't strictly management, but Northeast Corner Club doesn't cost you anything. It's a purely voluntary thing. We run it on our own account. We don't charge you for it. It's basically for your light blues. And the management of it, there is a management team, and you can see us all with our light blue backgrounds. And the idea is that as the guys who are currently running it become masters of their lodges and want to move on, then there's a continuity plan of other Masons running Northeast Corner Club with us. So we never miss a beat. We're always there moving on with the new Masons as they come in, especially now with so many new Masons waiting in the wings. Okay. So who is the Northeast Corner Club's audience? Well, the main audience, as you'll be unsurprised to hear, are new Masons and young Masons. Well, I'm not young, but I am fairly new. I've been a Mason for 6 years, thoroughly involved with the Northeast Corner Club, and I like to think that it's a lot easier now to be a new Mason than it was when I first joined. It really has got better. So it's really we're looking at, I say, new and young Masons, but there is a secondary audience, and that's experienced Masons, because there's nothing better than an experienced person sharing their experience with you. And we show interest in being part of the overall team of North East Corner Club. This particular picture here, you've got the current Deputy Provincial Grand Master and an Assistant Provincial Grand Master at a North East Corner Club meeting. They are there right fair and square behind us, as is our Provincial Grand Master, who is attending the meeting today. So what do? North East Corner Club, it supports new Masons in their journey. And believe you me, it is a journey. You're going to discover a great deal as you come into Freemasonry and you develop. You know, we always talk about our daily advancement, because yeah, it is true. You find out something new every day in life, and that's true for Freemasonry. And we help with their education, education being paramount for keeping a Mason's interest engaged. How does the North East Corner Club achieve that? Well, we visit lodges. So you will often see, when we have proper meetings, North East Corner Club members turning up at meetings. They'll give a presentation during the lodge meeting or at the festive board after the meeting. But we're there to meet new and young Masons, keep them engaged, tell them what we do. We hold meetings ourselves, and we'll come on to that. We hold meetings where we cover a topic that was of interest, and we get good attendance at those meetings, and also we produce educational material which we then share with you. So I think we've got all the bases covered, but let's see. So visiting. North East Corner Club encourages visiting. When you first become a Mason, you'll go through your initiation and you become a first degree Mason. So we encourage you, because you experiencing a first degree from being a first degree Mason, you won't see a great deal. You won't understand a great deal, because it's all happening to you and it's all very new. So we encourage you to go visit a lodge. You're carrying out a first degree, a second degree when it's capable, third degree. So you can see, you can learn in these meetings. You can watch and listen. More experienced Masons doing their ritual. You'll also notice that each lodge has a slightly different spin. You know, by dispensation, they're allowed to do things slightly differently. I'm in 2 lodges and we have different people doing certain parts of the ritual from one to the other, and I often forget who should be saying what. Broaden your social circle. Well, yes, you know, the fact that we've got a number of people here today, when you become Masons, you come and visit, you start to get to know us. Our faces become familiar, and you're in the company of friends, and that's really what one of the things that Freemasonry is all about. Now, it's an interesting one here. Get your passports signed. And I'm going to talk about passports. It is one of the things that North East Corner Club do. We want to encourage visiting. And there we are. Sorry, I forgot that there was a picture to become there. And we have the Bucks Passport Scheme. So what is the Bucks Passport? And you can see there's a copy there. I think that's Gray's passport sitting there. He's nodding. It is. It's to encourage visiting to lodges. And you visit lodges at there's various centres that they hold their meetings in within the province. So I myself are in 2 lodges who meet. One meets in Winslow, other meets in Stony Stratford. I know other people meet in Slough, Buckingham, whatever. You go to that centre to attend a meeting or to attend a North East Corner Club event, and you get the secretary of the lodge, or a secretary who's there to sign the fact that you've been here on the date and what you were doing there, what lodge you were visiting. After a while, you get that, so it becomes a record of your journey. And once you've filled that passport and you've been to every centre in the province, you can earn yourself a set of limited edition cufflinks. Now, I don't know if we actually have the cufflinks in the picture, but they don't look dissimilar to the badges. Oh, they are cufflinks that we have laying on the top of the passport there. We do have
Steve,
sorry?
we've had a question come in exactly on visiting. So what's the etiquette around visiting?
What's the etiquette around visiting? Well, basically you contact, if you want to visit a lodge, as long as you can get the details of the secretary of that lodge, contact the secretary and say, hi, I'm a member of North East Corner Club. I'm a first degree Mason. I would like to visit your lodge meeting. That secretary would come back to you and say, okay, we are doing a first degree meeting. You're more than welcome to come along, and he will send out a summons. Each meeting is preceded by a summons. Summons goes out, sent to you, and you know then when to turn up and what to expect, what ritual is going to happen. Does that answer the question? Hopefully it does.
Certainly does. Thank you. Thanks, Steve.
We do have some limited edition venues that get added to the passport. The Motorcycle Lodge, yes, we have special interest lodges, Motorcycle Lodge being one of them. Went to the Isle of Man. Our Classic Car Lodge, visited the Brooklands Motor Museum, all very ties in with a special interest. And we do have meetings in the United Grand Lodge at Freemasons Hall down in Covent Garden in London. I say we normally do, haven't during COVID and lockdown, we obviously don't, but there we go. So that's what the Bucks passport scheme is. Everyone's very proud to hold their passport, get it signed, and I'm a couple of centres off getting mine complete. And once COVID's finished, I'll certainly go to the centres I haven't visited. So I go back to what do? We visit lodges, we hold meetings. Let's have a look at holding meetings. Holding meetings, they're informative and they're fun. So I'll just talk about the pictures we've got here. We held a meeting in a pub in Winslow, and the meeting was to teach ritual, because there's a lot of ritual to learn. It builds up as you go through Masonry. So here we have Brother Ryan teaching the assembled members of North East Corner Club some hints and tips about trying to remember the ritual. Don't learn too much too quickly. Learn little bits, bite-sized pieces. And it's just fun. You can see the second picture with the guy standing by the window. Here we're trying to do our ritual, speak it out loud to the worst lodge in the world where everybody's talking, and it's just a fun experience. And talking of fun, here we have Brother Range, who's in the meeting today. We have a meeting once a year with a particular lodge.
Me.
Who are down in Marlow now, and they hold a breakfast meeting. So rather than meeting in the evening, and we have a gut buster challenge. That's the ever-growing breakfast. How many items did you eat, Range? It was 7, wasn't it?
7 of every item. Yeah.
7 of every item. You can see it's a rather large plate. I know some people might find that a little bit off-putting, but it's just part of our fun. We do other things, but that one particularly stands out, and again on hold because of COVID. Our North East Corner Club meetings, I've always mentioned that we're learning Masonic behaviour. So I've shown the pictures of our etiquette. We have etiquette meetings, how to learn how to behave in the lodge. You always respect the chair, respect the gavel, and don't turn your back on the master, and various things like that. Important to learn. Really important to learn, and once you get that, it becomes second nature to you. But you don't understand that until you start visiting lodges. I showed you pictures there of how to learn ritual, which is a useful way of helping it. Again, that's more experienced Masons helping the inexperienced Mason, the new Mason, learn stuff. And your mentors in your lodges will help you with that as well. So we're just there as an add-on to the mentors. We talk about Freemasonry itself. You might not know, some of you guys, that there are many different side orders in Masonry. So you're coming into what's known as craft Masonry, but once you're through to the 3rd degree of craft, a whole other world opens up to you. You can become a member of the Holy Royal Arch, a companion, which a lot of us are. There's the Ancient and Accepted Rite. There's the Royal Lodge of Scotland. I have to be invited for that one. But there's loads of different side orders. And there's a very good presentation given where the side orders are laid out in front of you, and then people dressed in the garb of that order will parade into the room to show you what it looks like. Very colourful, very good day. Another meeting we hold is where we present officers of the lodge. Obviously there's the master has his wardens, there are deacons, but they all have a role in the lodge, and they all sit in a certain place in the lodge, and we take you into a lodge room and then take you through that. So again, a very informative day, lots of banter, because not every person does it perfectly, and you can pick up people's behaviors. So it's very good indeed. It's all part of our getting on with meeting. So what's our education, which is our next part? The NECC, North East Corner Club, is there with you every step of the way. So when you become a Mason and when you go through your various degrees, you get a handbook. So there's 3 handbooks for the first, second and third degree. That's produced by Northeast Corner Club. There is a copy of it sitting in the corner of my case in this picture. It gives you full information about that degree. So you learn the first one you get, how to be an entered apprentice Freemason. And you can't learn about being a fellowcraft, second degree, or master mason, third degree, until you are one. You get a handbook each time you go through a degree. Full information about said degree, very useful, and it gets you ready to go to the next degree. To go to the next degree, you get a series of questions. So to go from the first to the second degree, there's a set of questions about what you did in the first degree. So you stand up in lodge and repeat that. And once you've done those successfully, you're allowed then to go on with the rest of your what's known as passing to the second. And then there's a set of questions take from the second to the third degree. You'd have heard of the phrase to give them the third degree. Yeah, that's a Masonic phrase. And that gets you ready to go into third degree and become a Master Mason. Now in the picture here, you see a whole load of material. Yep, there is a passport in there. There is a little card, introduce you into TMAP. And TMAP is an app that Northeast Corner Club uses. And I'll talk more about that when I cover communication. There's an etiquette handout, and you can see a picture I actually showed earlier in the presentation, which is the layout of a lodge. And you can actually in there, it will tell you how a lodge is laid out and things like this. That's the etiquette. I've called that a cheat card. I really should have called it an aid memoir. And someone pointed that out to me. An aid memoir has to help you because we do sing in our meetings. It's all part of the fun of the meeting. We sing an opening ode, a closing ode, and we sing the national anthem. You're not expected to remember the ode straight away. No one does. So we give you an aid memoir, a little card you can slip in your pocket, take along to meetings, surreptitiously get it out, and then no one's the wiser that you don't know the words. The passport, have I mentioned passport? Yeah, I think I have a few times. And there's another leaflet which really recommend. It's not so much for you, because if you become a Mason, you've done it, but it's tell your mates, don't wait to be asked. Hand that out, hand the leaflet out. It's a little trifold, and it will tell you all about Freemason, or your friends about Freemasonry. So once you're a Mason, you know, you can ask your friends, and then they can come along and join. So I asked one of my friends to become a Mason. He joined my lodge, and he has a friend who is waiting now to join as well. So we'll bring him in due course, maybe after COVID. Okay, we'll move on past the education.
Steve, sorry, before we do move on, if we could go back one, what's in the handbooks?
What's in the handbooks? What's in the handbooks? There's a load of material in the handbooks. It talks about what is expected of each degree. So if you're an entered apprentice, what is expected of you, the roles that you can perform in the lodge as a, say, an entered apprentice, master mason, or fellowcraft. It gets you ready, so it prepares you for the questions. It gives you some history. It tells you about the regalia that people are wearing, that you're wearing. You know, so why you wear a plain white apron, or badge as we call it, as an entered apprentice, and you just cover off stuff that. But if it's not doesn't cover enough, it doesn't stop you asking questions. And that's where your mentor or the Northeast Club is there for you to help. Does that answer the question?
It does. Thank you, Steve. These items, do we have to pay for them?
No.
For the badge and so on?
No, all the material, it's a very good question. All the material you get is gratis. Northeast Corner Club is very honoured. We are funded by Bucks Province. So they support us with money and they support us with their expertise. So we can pass on the cost. Don't pass the cost on to our brethren. The only thing we ask you to pay for is if there's a meal to be had. You know, you'll pay for your breakfast, you pay for your dinner. Communication. We use a number of different channels.
Thanks, Steve.
To communicate, and I've just listed them here, and I'll go through them. We use Facebook. There's a Northeast Corner Club group, and that's a closed group. You have to ask to be invited into that, so that members of the public, members of Facebook, can't necessarily see what's being said within the group. So we keep that to ourselves. We use MailChimp as a email generator to send emails out. So you certainly would have got MailChimp emails about this meeting. We use Twitter, maybe not so much, and Instagram as well. We put information out there. Again, those aren't freely available. And then we have TMAP. That's the one you're likely not to have heard of. TMAP is an app, and there's a screenshot there of TMAP running on a phone. Gray, I noticed, has sent out the link to the Facebook group for Northeast Corner Club. Thank you very much, Gray. It's in your chat inbox. I'm not going to say too much about TMAP because I think I'm going to run this video, if it lets me, which it didn't last time. Here we go. I'm having bandwidth problems. I do apologise. No, it's not going to work.
Steve, do you want me to explain how the guys can use TMAP before they come in?
I was about to suggest that, John.
Okay,
can you give a quick run through what TMAP's about?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name's John King, and I'm the Buckinghamshire mentor. The Northeast Corner Club, as you've been hearing, is a club that we have for the newer brethren that come into Freemasonry. To keep in touch, we use this app called TMAP. On there, we can store documents that tell you about what's going on in the future. It can give you information on things like symbolism in Freemasonry. It can explain the ceremonies you've been through, and it can put you in touch with other Freemasons. As most of you are not yet Freemasons, it's difficult to let you into the app. So what we've done is we've created a special space on the app called the Lounge. And if you like, it's a waiting room before you get into Freemasonry proper. So we'll be giving you the links at the end of the meeting and emailing them to you. You can sign up for TMAP. You'll be, and if you put on it when you sign up, if you ask for access to the lounge, we'll let you into the lounge area. In there, you'll find information about these Zoom meetings, when the next one is. It will have information about becoming a Freemason, about Buckinghamshire itself. So it'll be able to be a reference point for you to answer many questions. It'll also enable us to send out invites easily to you in the future and for you to accept or decline them. But we're going to populate that area with all things that we can tell non-Masons. So if you're ever wondering what to do, if your wife asks what's Freemasonry about, there's even a section in there where you can give some information of what it's like being a Freemason's wife. Believe me, a lot are interested, and once they get interested, it'll cost you a few dresses and things like that. And once we get back to normal, but it's all there. We will give you the link, but please use that. If you get into that system, then it's an easy matter once you become a Freemason for us to open it up to you, and once you pass the first degree and are initiated. Okay, I think that's it, Steve. Thanks.
Thank you very much, John, helping me through there. Now, there's a quick poll I'd like to ask, just to see what sort of channels you think you prefer. I'll be interested to get that. You can vote for more than one, but we'll do a quick poll. Gray, are you going to do the countdown for me?
Certainly will.
There we go. It looks as though we get it right then, guys. So TMAP is the most popular with 80% of the votes, and followed up by Facebook and MailChimp. So they are the three channels we use the most. They're the three channels that are liked the most. So that's good to hear and good to see. Okay, thanks everybody. Okay, the elephant in the room, COVID-19. It really has impacted us. So meetings have stopped during lockdown, both versions of lockdown. In the little interregnum between the two, we managed meetings where there were 6 people at and fully masked up, but there was only a few of those. So North East Corner Club decided to establish Zoom meetings. Other video conferencing platforms are available, not advertising Zoom here. We've done 3 now, including this one. And the first one was Ask Us Anything, and that was a Zoom meeting for members of the North East Corner Club, but it was actually attended by quite a few Freemasons from the province, probably drawn by the fact it was the Provincial Grand Master, John Clark, who was answering questions. And we used the same format as we use now, answering questions through chat, and it was very successful. So we encouraged by that, we moved on to our second meeting, which we called Zoom into Freemasonry. And this one it was for Freemasons and people wanting to become Freemasons. So in that particular meeting, we did a presentation about the history of Freemasonry and what Freemasonry does in the community, just to encourage people to find out more of what we're about. Quick question. Oh, it's been answered. So we've been doing web meetings. There's another web meeting coming up in December. And there's another meeting in November, not from North East Corner Club though. We've started doing podcasts, and you'll hear one of these in a moment's time, where we do a thought of the day or thought of the month, and we send out learning support as well in the forms of a podcast. So just helping you to grow more, learn anytime and learn anywhere. There's a question here, can we receive the recordings of the previous meetings? Certainly for the second and third meetings you can, not the first one if you're not a Mason, because the first one was purely about the Bucks province and how we were getting through COVID. So thank you. That's it. North East Corner Club, as we say, do more, get more, be more. So are there any further questions that want to be asked?
You want to unmute people, Steve, and let them come in and signal if they want to make a call, ask a question.
Okay, I've just allowed you to unmute yourself, should you want to.
Hi, Steve. My name is Lee.
Hello, Lee.
Hello. This is my first meeting. I've went to the website and read a bit about the activities, but if you can cover them and also talk about the principles, maybe. I guess that most of the members already know, or whomever on the call knows, but for me it's quite new. So if you can cover the main principles and what the beliefs are and the activities, that would be brilliant.
Well, that's a very broad question. I didn't expect that. Yeah, the main beliefs. The first question you're asked is, you want to become a Freemason, is do you believe in a supreme being, whatever shape, form, or whatever. We do ask that of Freemasons. You believe in something greater. We end up calling them the great architect of the universe. We just believe there is something that we are working towards and working for. We believe in respecting all men. There is a lodge in my acquaintance where we have a rocket scientist and a window cleaner, and they've both been masters of the lodge. We don't care what job you do, we don't care if you're unemployed, but we respect each other. So the head of Freemasonry, being the Duke of Kent, is shown due respect, but he shows due respect to all the other brethren, which obviously are beneath him because he's the Grand Master. It's, I suppose, they're the principles, if you like. It's respect. Yeah, just respect. Having fun.
Steve, do you want me to just do a little bit on this?
Go on then, John.
If you're happy. Yeah, Lee, thank you for the question. Besides this Zoom meeting. We also hold Zoom meetings with our membership team, which is run by Simon Williams. And I think there's one coming up in a couple of weeks, which will explain a lot of these things to people that are interested in joining. So what I'll do is I'll put on the chat, I'll put the, you say you've come in on the website, so Simon should have your details. He'll give you details of that next Zoom meeting and it'll go through it. But quickly to answer your question, a lot of this information will be in the lounge area of TMAP. So if you join that, you'll find it. Now, the main tenets that we work on are integrity, friendship, respect, and charity. And those 4 guiding areas are the ones that is that we work and we develop not only ourselves, but you guys as well into moving forward using those. So they're very simple, they're very easy, but a lot of it is about fun. You want to learn more, you need to go on the Zoom meeting on the membership team and they'll cover it in more detail. But get into the lounge area. That lounge area will initially answer lots of questions for you. And then we can get you on a meeting, speak to you about it, get you allocated to a lodge. And hopefully when COVID's over and done with, or let's get back to a bit normal, you can experience some of these fantastic meetings. The only thing I'll say about all the meetings that you go through, there is something about them that makes you feel better once you come out of that meeting than you ever did when you went in. Even if you're feeling great when you go in, there is something about it and the friendship and the camaraderie that just lifts you, which is one of the great attractions to many people in Freemasonry. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Could I just, sorry, Lee, if you haven't already inquired via the landing page, what we'll do is we'll put up the Bucks Freemasons email address. And if you just drop me a quick email, I'll let you know when the next membership Zoom, as John quite rightly said, we'll cover off a lot of the points that you mentioned there.
Okay, thank you. Brilliant.
Okay, any more questions?
Well, Steve, on behalf of everybody in this meeting, all 55 of us, I'd like to thank you for that. That was excellent. It's the first time we've used the new platform Prezi, and I think it worked really well. As always, we're always grateful for the contributions that are made by everybody, but we do appreciate that some of you may have felt that it wasn't the right time to ask that question. What you've seen in the chat is the contact information for Simon. Please drop Simon an email if you've got any questions. If we can help in any way, that's the appropriate point of contact for you to use. Just before we go, I think the final bit of housekeeping is, Steve, thank you very much. To the rest of the North East Corner Club team, thank you very much for assisting this morning. To you as our honoured visitors and guests, thank you for spending time with us. I just wanted to close off, if I may, Steve, by sharing my screen to the video. That we produce these every month, and it's our thought of the day. And I think it'd be just quite nice for us to end on this. So, but stay on afterwards if you want a social chat. We're not leaving straight away.
Thought of the day. In life, we can't always control the actions of others, but we can control ourselves. Being able to master your own thoughts, emotions, and feelings can make a big difference of winning or not, even when the odds are stacked against you. So what does it mean to win? Well, many people believe that they have to win 100% in order to win, and that can in itself cause a lot of unnecessary stress and drain on our resources. We'd like to offer you a different way of thinking. Ask yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10, by how much am I winning? And if you answer anywhere over 5, well, then that's a great position to be in. Just consider this. In law, if you achieve 51% in your favour, you've won outright. So why should that be any different in day-to-day life? The remaining 49% is irrelevant, yet so many of us can easily get distracted from emotions. and get bogged down on those bits which we haven't got instead of what we have. So today's message is as simple as that. Brethren, let's focus on what we have as opposed to what we don't have. And remind ourselves, are we winning by at least 51%? Because if we are, the rest doesn't matter.
Okay, guys. Thank you all very much for joining us today. That completes the formal part of our meeting, but by all means, please stay on. We have a hard stop at 11:15. So until that time comes, please feel free to stay on, have a conversation with us, ask any questions that you weren't able to ask beforehand. If you need to go now, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again very soon.